Alright, hey guys, what's up? Deadpoolzilla here, and here to do a video response on my friend Ziploc Bloody's video on the comic book industry. Now, me personally, I'm kind of like half and half on it. Some things are good, some things are bad, so I got my pros and cons. Let me, start off with the cons first. The cons are basically like some books you just can't let kids read. I mean, there's not a lot of young readers right now. That's basically because, kids' books don't really, they don't sell well. That's the problem, is that you can't really market. If it's not marketing well, you have to drop that book rather than spend resources on it. That's the other thing. I don't, now if there was, now I do say there are some books out there for kids to read, like, Superman, the JMS stuff. You could probably give a kid that, and he'll probably like Superman, the Superman run currently. You could also give, I don't know. Well, actually, no. You could probably the DC Kids stuff. You could like kids read, but if you want like an older, like 12 to 14-year-old get into comics, let him start off with Superman. Some of the trades. But getting back on subject. But like I said, there's not a lot of stuff you can market on that. It's not that profitable. The other thing is, too, that, there are, I'm going to admit there are some flaws to some stuff, like Marvel. They constantly whore out some characters. I'm afraid that's what they're doing with Thor. I'm also afraid they're doing that to Captain America, Steve Rogers and Bucky, Captain America. I'm also afraid they're doing that to, a lot like the Avengers teams. As much as there's like 4 Avengers teams right now. I really think they should just stick with Avengers and Secret Avengers. There's really no need for the new Avengers and Avengers Academy. I really don't see the point in that. They really whore out the stuff. I mean, Deadpool was like really out of control, but it's kind of died down now. Wolverine, incredibly whored out. But people are going to say, oh, they were just marketing. No, marketing is writing the character better. And probably giving like a few limited series, just not constantly, but here and there. That's marketing. Not whoring out is basically constantly making these piece of crap books and one-shots and minis and bad writers, and the ongoing, or main series is just crap. But yeah, it's kind of died down for Deadpool, not so much Wolverine. What's the other thing is that the other thing is, too, that I kind of think is what's with the comic book industry, and I don't think anyone's really tackled this in the other videos I've seen, is that it's always, especially at Marvel, it's always the same writers. It's constantly the same writers doing different books. I mean, Matt Fraction currently is doing X-Men. He's doing, I think, yeah, he's still doing X-Men. He's doing Invincible Iron Man, and now he's on Thor. 3 books at once, alright? I mean, yeah, you could argue with Jeff Johns, he's doing a bunch of books, but there's also like a bunch of other, but it's kind of died down as well for him. I mean, the only books he's doing right now are Brightest Day, Green Lantern, and Flash, and a few others, but other people take over those books most of the time. I mean, you could argue that with Jeff Johns, he's doing like a majority of the books, but really it's a lot of the other times, like these other books are people like we don't really know much of, and they really, like Green Lantern, like several, you know what I mean, basically. But, with Jeff Parker, he's doing, freaking Red Hulk, he's doing Thunderbolts, he's doing, so many other books, and Jason Aaron is doing like all the grittier books, like Punisher, Max, and Wolverine. It doesn't. I think what especially at Marvel is that I could also argue with this with DC. Getting back to what I said about Jeff Johns, he may be a great writer, but I think I'm going to change my idea because I just rethought about it just now and thought, yeah, he's doing way too many books. I think what the main thing is that we kind of need new writers. I mean, it's always the same people, especially at Marvel, DC. It's always the same it's the same hat. over and over. I mean, there's no real shock there. Like, who's this guy? I mean, who's that guy? Who's this guy? You know, it really doesn't fit well for me. You know, the other thing, too, about what Alan Moore said, I don't give a crap what Alan Moore says, alright? The dude's a hypocrite. I mean, the only real, like, I mean, you could argue Watchmen, but, like, Blows Himself Up dude said, they're all superheroes based off of something. And like, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, based off of other characters. From Hell, based off of an actual character. I mean, not character, killer. V for Vendetta is probably the only character that's probably original from him. But yeah, Watchmen, they're based off of, they're like reverse versions of the superheroes. But yeah, I'm just gonna stop right there in case there's some Alan Moore nutty hugger out there who wants to be all pissy at me. I mean, I like Alan Moore's writing, but not as much as I used to. I don't care for it anymore. Anyway, but that's my opinion, and leave it be. Alright? Moving on is, you know, the other thing is that I'm going to move on to some of the good stuff out of it, is that there are, I mean, that aside, I mean, we have some really great stories coming from the likes of, I mean, I love what they're doing with Superman Grounded. Action Comics, is what I've been told from my friend Zip, you know, Zip Block Bloody. He's telling me, oh my god, they should. He keeps telling me Action Comics is really good, and that's totally underrated since it just focuses around, you know, Lex Luthor. You know, the other thing is too is that it's interesting to me. But, you know, there are some stories out there that can't be out there for kids, but it kind of helps the comic book industry in a way. But, however, it kind of damages it for, you know, young reader, for people who want to get into comics, because it's so confusing. On the other hand, you have comics like, you know, for younger viewers, like I said, DC Kids or Marvel Adventures. And, well, actually, no, I couldn't recommend X-Men Forever, I'm sorry. And you could always go back to the trades. That's the other thing too. You know, especially at Marvel, like I said, well, actually, Zip will actually probably agree with me on this, that Marvel needs to make little, like, these Marvel Adventures, Spider-Man and Marvel Adventures superheroes. I think there needs to be, like, maybe just one more Marvel Adventures book, because DC right now, DC Kids has, they're going to do Young Justice comics, they're going to do, they're doing the Cartoon Network Action Pack and several other books, so they're kind of beating them out on that, but, like I said, you could probably give a kid trade back, but getting back on also subject is that, yeah, but like Blows Himself Up dude said, the comic book industry right now is kind of like at an okay status. I mean that Superman's Grounded story and the upcoming Batman Inc. and what they're doing with and what JMS is doing with Wonder Woman. It's really interesting, but you can't really tell these stories to a kid. But however, you can probably, I don't know. But it's okay with that because now we have older readers that weren't comic book readers come in and read this stuff, and it's like really good. The other thing is that people also, I've also noticed that people complain about comics is that there's no original ideas anymore. Shut up, all right? This is how I'm gonna say it. There is no like real original. There's not a lot of real original stories left to tell. It's how you tell it is how you do it. Like I said, no real. There's not a lot of original stories left, but it's how you tell the story, or retell the story is how you do it. Kind of like how a lot of Greek myths are retold, and it's kind of for the better, because originally the myth, it's kind of like that. And it's the same thing with movies, remakes or comic books, movies based off comic books or TV shows, it's the same thing. So don't complain about no originality. It's how you remake the story or how you retell the story in comic books. That's the originality right there. But anyway, I think I've said my piece. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and yes, I know I did use Superman for this image because the last two responses, especially on Zip's video, had Batman, and then Blows Us Up Dude's video had Superman on it. So Batman as well, excuse me. So I went, you know what? I'm gonna pick Superman. Anyway, this is hope you guys have enjoyed this video, like I said, and it's Deadpoolzilla, and I'm out.